Section 1-1 is about the system for geometry. So geometry is an axiomatic system based on logical reasoning and axioms. So you might be wondering, what the heck is an axiom? So an axiomatic system is a set of axioms from which theorems can be derived. So axioms are statements that are accepted to be true without proof. Okay, we create an axiomatic system based off all of these different kinds of words, defined terms, definitions, undefined terms. The more important things that we will be utilizing are definitions. We'll be using an axiom or a postulate. You might also refer to it as a postulate down the road, and then also a theorem. A theorem is a statement or conjecture that can be proven true using all of these different things. Okay, so one example of you using a axiomatic system would be the rules to a game. So if you were playing Monopoly, the rules of how to play Monopoly, what's allowed, what's not allowed, that would be an example of that kind of a system. So what we're going to do is they're going to give us some different types of scenarios. Let me get my stuff situated there. Some different types of scenarios, and we have to come up with either some different conclusions or different types of situations that can be derived from that. So in this first example, it says you're in the fictional country of Rythoth. Blue animals are from the mountains, and I know in your workbook it's hard to see it, but this column are all the blue animals. Red animals are from the valleys, and that's the second column. These animals are categorized into three distinct classes: mammals, birds, and reptiles. Mammals are covered by hair or fur, birds are covered by feathers, and then reptiles are covered by scales. So what we can do is we can use all of that information to figure out where they're going to be living. And so that's what that first table is over there to the right. Zoom in a little bit. There we go. So it's telling you to write the name of each animal and the corresponding categories in that table. So here are your all different types of animals, and then off to the left here you have your mountains and your valleys. So based off the fact that mammals are covered by hair or fur, I know that those guys, this one right here looks like it has fur on it. I guess I need to show everything, sorry. This one right here looks like it has fur or hair on it, and so does this guy. So based off their color, I would then know where they would be living. So the Rorex is going to be living in the mountain, and then the club is going to be living in the valley. Then the next scenario, it said that birds are covered by feathers, so you can see which ones are those two. So I have these two guys, Pax and Prit. Pax is a blue guy, so it's going to live in the mountain. Prit was a red guy, so it's living in the valley. And then my last two are your reptiles because they have scales on them, and again, based off their color, places them on their location. So Awub is going to be in the mountains, and Zog is going to be in the valleys. Whoever created these names is crazy. Okay, so then part B, it's asking us to use these axioms to come up with three conclusions. So this first one says, this is the mammal from the mountains on Rythoth. So I have mammals here, and then it's going to live in the mountains, so that would mean the answer would have to be Rorex. The second question says, this is the reptile from the valleys of Rythoth. So the reptile is this column, and then I'm looking for the valley, so that would be Zog. And then last, I have the bird from the valleys of Rythoth. So I have the bird column, and then I'm looking at valley, so that would be Prit. Okay, you're going to pause the video, and you're going to try the check question down there at the bottom of that page. So something you might want to know, it's kind of hard to tell the colors again. I had to look it up in the book here. So let me just show you a better picture so that you can see it. There we go. So there is a better picture of the key that they gave you. And so you can see that this one has the reds and the oranges. Those are going to all be desert. The greens are going to show that it's a tropical forest. And then if there's any blue on there, that's going to be showing the tundra. So your job was to use all of these axioms, so the information they gave you up here, to determine the conclusions that can be made. So as you go through these, bears and foxes can live on Cythera. So bears and foxes, it says up here, I have to go back over to my notes so that you can see it better. So over here in my notes, I went ahead and put in what each animal was going to. So from this information, I put that lizards and scorpions had to live in the deserts, frogs and monkeys have to live in the tropical forest, and bears and foxes have to live in the tundra. So now showing you this picture, you can see that bears and foxes have to live in the tundra. So if they're living in Cythera down here, that would be true because that is considered the tundra. So then we'd go to the next one. Lizards and scorpions can only live on Mothera. So we said those have to live in deserts. And that is true. They do have to live in the deserts. However, it says that it can only live on that planet. Well, I also see some reddish oranges over here on Cythera. So therefore, that statement is not true because it had that word only in there. Only frogs and monkeys can survive on Cythera. So frogs and monkeys, we said, had to live in the tropical forest area. And that is true. It does live on there. But again, because of that word only, we just said that lizards and scorpions can live on there because of that reddish orangish color. Letter D, bears and foxes can survive on Cythera at temperatures as low as -20. Well, all we know of bears and foxes is that they can live in the tundra. That's all that we know. We don't know anything about temperature. So this one we would not be able to know if that's true. All animals can live on Cythera. So we already said that this guy would be the, I already forgot the animals. What are they? Frogs and monkeys. The frogs and monkeys can live on the green area. The lizards and scorpions can also live there, but it doesn't have any blue. So therefore, since it's missing the blue color, this statement would be false because of all animals. And then last, scorpions and lizards can live on Mothera. We already said that was true because of the reddish oranges. So the only two that are true were A and F. Okay, so the second part of this section is you being able to determine if I have synthetic or analytic geometry. Synthetic geometry is where you are studying geometric figures without the use of coordinates. So anything that doesn't have that coordinate plane. Sometimes we also consider that as Euclidean geometry. Analytic geometry is when we will have that coordinate plane on there, and that's sometimes referred to as Cartesian geometry. So we're going to go through an example together, and then you'll try one of those by themselves. These are pretty simple. It's based just off their picture. So this first one, this one is going to be synthetic geometry because I don't see that coordinate plane in there. This one will be analytic because you do see that coordinate plane in there. So anytime you see that coordinate plane, you already know it's analytic. So for those bottom two in that first example, this one would be analytic because of the coordinate plane. This one would be synthetic. Now you can pause that video and try the check question. So in this last one, you should be able to see this one would be analytic, and this one would be analytic because of those two coordinate planes, and then these two would be in synthetic because you don't have any. So the first section is just kind of introducing what some of these ideas are with the axioms and the postulates and the theorems, and then just utilizing some different kind of vocabulary.